Happy 2025, Flosstube! My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross-stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see, and I would love to know more about what you like to stitch. And if you're stitching right now, what are you stitching? And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me and talk cross-stitch. It is just so much fun for me, and I know that your time is precious, so thank you for being here. Alrighty, so yes, we are in 2025. Can you believe it? So exciting. I did 2 extra videos this past week, if you're so inclined to see either one of them. I did a flip through of the Just Cross Stitch. This is the Winter 2024 Just Cross Stitch magazine. So if you want to see the flip through, that is 2 videos from here. It also is in my flip through playlist. So you can also just go to the playlist and you'll see all of my magazine flip throughs there. And then New Year's Eve. Yes, so that would have been Tuesday. This week, it just feels like fast but long. Do you know what I mean? I did a 2025 plans video, and I put sort of, because you know my plans are suggestions, but if you'd like to see some of what I would like to maybe do this year, then you could check that video out. I didn't really talk about like how I'm going to tackle my current projects, or in some ways, or like my full coverage, what I'm going to do. I think I'll just chat about that during my WIP parade. Hopefully that'll come out next week. So I just thought this was fun, things I might start, different types of challenges and games and different monthly stuff. So I enjoyed talking it all through with you, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. One other thing before we get started with my stitching, I wanted to do a quick trading card theme clarification. Just to let you know, there are multiple trading card swaps that go on. I am not the only one who hosts them. My trading card swap theme for this current session is Where You Live. If you go to, and you can go to my playlist for trading cards, the very most current video discusses our current swap, the theme in a bit more detail, deadlines, everything like that. So I just want to make sure I'd gotten, somebody had sent me an email because they were a bit confused thinking it was one thing, but they heard about it another theme. And so I want to make sure you just realize there's multiple swaps that go on. So ours is Where You Live. And I cannot wait to see what you all do. I have one idea so far. I'm kind of stumped a little bit more, but you know, it'll come. And hopefully I try to do at least 2 cards. So we'll see. That means adding that stitching into January. So we'll see what happens. Alrighty, so this week I had 2 starts, which I will do at the very end because they were New Year's Day starts. And then anything extra really that I did yesterday, besides some of my start from this year, I'm going to wait till next week because there was enough here. We're starting Bringo. That gives me, usually I try to change my projects and do 25 different projects during Bringo. So that means a lot of extra stitching and stuff during that. So we're going to kick that down the road till next time I see you. Alrighty, so here we go. Very first one. I saw that, oh, I forgot to write the note on that. I want to make sure I always post every floss tube that I mentioned. Megan, the Seattle Stitcher, had finished this. Now, she didn't do the border, and she did some phenomenal color changes. If you go to either her floss tube or her Instagram, you will see it. And it looked so nice that I said, I need to pull mine out. Now, I am doing the border, although I understand, if I can find the picture, there it is. I can understand why Megan wouldn't. And to be honest with you, if I hadn't started with like the green stuff, I might have just done the hearts and the other part. I think at this point, pulling out the green that I have done will be just a little bit too much of a hassle. So I'm going to keep it. So this is Librarians House, and it is from Stone Street Stitch. And I started this in 2023 of September, I believe, with Beth the Steadfast Stitcher. Librarian Sampler Sal, I think, is what we've got as a hashtag. Beth, you're better at remembering hashtags than I am. I am also changing quite a few of the colors, as you'll see. I changed out to make, I added some blues in there and I took away some of the greens. My border is actually more of a navy. My house is completely different. And pretty much the red that is used in the flowers and the brown, I think, are two that I did keep. And then I really started to change a bunch of other things. I can't remember in the description box if I talk about what I did. It's not 100% like for like, so it's hard for me to say, you know, this color. If I do just do a like for like, I'll usually put it in the description box and say, instead of 310, I use blah, blah, blah. But in this case, it's a little bit different. So that's what the original looks like. Now I wanted to keep it kind of a neutrally theme for the fabric. And I'm really glad I did, because I think these colors really look nice on this. This is 18 count Darling David from Those Missing Stitches. And if you have not watched Lynn has a floss tube that's called Those Missing Stitches. She just put out a video. She's in my queue. I haven't gotten to her yet, but I'm so excited. Every quarter, she usually puts out new colors. So I also follow her Etsy shop. I already got the notice that she had added stuff to her shop. I already ordered a couple of the new colors. I'm so excited. I can't wait till they come in. Lynn does fantastic hand dyeing. I'm an Aida stitcher through and through, really. And this is the 18 count and I love it. The feel, I'm an in-hand stitcher and it is just phenomenal to stitch with. Every piece I've gotten from Lynn just feels fantastic. So that's what I'm doing. Now the house here, I am actually changing it to resemble the Mark Twain house. Not Mark Twain, I always confuse that. The Noah Webster house in West Hartford, Connecticut. Now the only thing I didn't do, I thought about recharting. There's like the little, you know how over the door a lot of times you have like the little row of windows, the little panes and all that. That is in the Noah Webster house, but I didn't have the kind of the bandwidth to do all of the recharting. It's actually two different colors. I'm not sure, you can tell in person, but in the original house, you know, and it could be just that the house is faded, but the house and the sill and everything that goes around, all the trim, is essentially the same color. The house looks a little lighter. I'm pretty sure the house is painted, so it probably has just faded in the sun. So what I did was I chose two different colors. The trim around the windows and the door is actually this 221, I think. And then I did a slightly lighter color for the house. I have to go back. I think I was able to match the roof okay. And I have to go back. I can't remember what color the door is. I have a picture saved in my photos. But this time around, I did the entire house. I got all of that done. I don't think I'm going to fill in the windows. I think I'm just going to do the door. And then it's exciting. So there is, I think, dates and things like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep that area open. I think it looks fine, especially because there's a big floral element. Let me see my picture again. Yeah, there's a big floral element right here that comes out of this. So once I do that and the door, I think all I have left is the border. So you can see I've got a good number of the hearts done, but at the tippy top, do you see all those little green parts around some of the hearts? All of that I still have to do. I think what I'll do is I'm always hesitant to carry, but this is a thicker fabric. It's not a super thin fabric. And sometimes when I carry, I weave under some of the other stitches so that it doesn't show up so much on the front. And this will be scrapbooked. So I think it should be fine. To make it easier, at least on each heart, I might start to carry a little bit more and do that. And that should make it go a little faster. This, I happen to be looking for something else in my Whip Parade notes from last year. My goal for 2024 on this was to get a finish. Clearly I didn't do that, but this is easily going to be slated for a 2025 finish. I think I could do that pretty easily. Part of it, I think, I hadn't decided what I was doing for the house, and I got stalled for a little while. So I think that's why it didn't get the finish that it could have gotten in 2024. but I'm on a roll now. The flower part won't be too hard, and then the border is just digging in and doing the border. It's a little tedious. I am not a huge fan of borders. If I can get away with changing them or not doing them, sometimes I do. And then sometimes I just do them. So we'll see. Okay, so this next piece here is Lighthouse, and this is from Cottage Garden Samplings, and it is part of last year's Fabulous House series. So I decided to stitch on this while I was watching Mandy Parker's Whip Parade. And I actually did do a before and after picture, Mandy, but I have no idea how to do collages with my photos. Because there is if you watch Whip Parades, there is a hashtag where you start something, you take a start picture, you watch the Whip Parade, because the parades are longer and longer nowadays, and then you post an end picture so you can see how much you got done during watching the parade. And I got my pictures done and everything else. And then I didn't know. I Googled, I know there's some apps, but then I looked at the app reviews and they said, no, you have to pay for it. So if anybody has a really good free Apple app that does photo collages so that I can just do fun things like that on Instagram, please let me know. And please remember that I am a non-technical person. If I can do things non-tech, I do. Hence why all of my planners are paper planners. So keep that in mind if you make a suggestion. Okay, so here we go. This is where I got to. So Mandy, I got quite a bit accomplished. I think I got 400 stitches during your Whip Parade. So thank you for keeping me company while I stitched this. This is 18 count, Compelling Conchis. And this is also from Lynn, Those Missing Stitches. On 18 count, look at this glorious color. It's different, obviously, on different counts and types of fabrics, so keep that in mind. But I love doing my beach stuff. I did my Cottage Garden Seagull on this, and I did frame that. I would like to frame this and have the two of them as maybe a companion piece on the wall. So I got to get it done, get it framed, and then put Mo to work hanging this. He's very precise, and versus me, I don't have the patience sometimes for all of that. So whenever I have framing stuff or hanging stuff, I say, okay, here you go. I need this hung here. And out comes the ruler and the level and all of that good stuff. So I finished all of this. And then this little seagull got put in, and then I started over here as well. So I was really excited on how much progress I got. I couldn't decide, did I want to continue with this seagull, or did I want to start doing the top of the lighthouse here? I decided to do that. I may try to do this top border repeats all the way over, if you can see, and then this is a repeat again. There's a lot of counting in this because I don't know if you can tell, do you see all the different really pretty designs? And that is what Cottage Garden, that's what she does, right? These are so gorgeous, but there's always something that has that intricate counting part to it. So I might do over and over and get the top done, because I think the bottom area, well, the lighthouse will be fun. I mean, and that doesn't have, oh, it does have, look at how pretty that is. There is a design on that, but I think that would be a little bit easier than this. And then down here will be easy. So I'd like to kind of keep this one on my radar because I like all the houses. I mean, I started Santa's house, and I already have the fabric picked out for the castle. So, you know, I got to get them started if we want to get them stitched. So that's what it looks like. Alrighty. Let me put that away. Okay. Next, alrighty. This one right here. So it was a beautiful weekend here in Delaware, Saturday and Sunday. And on Sunday afternoon, Mo and I had some time. And so Mo said, you want to go down to the beach and just sit and kind of hang out at the beach? And I said, sure. Now, I didn't realize how nice it was, so we didn't bring chairs. We ended up sitting in, well, Mo needed to go get himself some sunglasses, so he walked into town, did that. Well, I stitched and listened to the waves and all of that. And afterwards, when he got back, I said, well, let's just walk on the beach a little bit. So we went out on the beach, and it was beautiful. If we had brought our chairs, I would have sat on the beach. It was one of those beautiful days where, okay, if you had like a sweatshirt on and maybe a light blanket, sitting in your chair, it would have been glorious sitting out there. And I always pick monochromatic if I'm sitting, well, I don't always, but I've learned now that monochromatic is much easier when you're, out and about, sometimes in the wild. And so things like this too. This is a smaller piece and I'm stitching it monochromatic, so it would be perfect. But I brought it with me and I did do some stitching in the car. And then later on during the week, I think this past week, I also did some more to get you some more progress. This is Spring Awakens, and it is from Summer House Stitchworks. I have all 4, and I did talk about wanting to do some more of these. I'd like to start at least one more this year. I'm getting close to a finish on this one. I'm not going to necessarily wait till I get the finish to do the next start. Maybe the start of spring, I'll start summer or something like that kind of thing is what I'm thinking about. But let me show you where I am. So that's where I got. I am using DMC 319 Floche. So Floche is 1-stranded and it's thicker. And on the 18 count, I like the coverage. Now I am a 2-strand regular DMC stitcher on 18 count. So take that with what you will. You may not like the Floche on 18 then. If you prefer like a 1-strand, you might like it more like on a 16 or 32, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know on the bigger ones. I don't think it would work actually. It'd be more like a 16. But anyway, I am just loving this. I find it really nice on the eyes, having kept it monochromatic versus I think it's really pretty this way and very cool. But for me, I just find this a little bit easier on my eyes. Sometimes when there's like different kinds of contrasts or something, my eyes just are kind of like, nope, I can't process that. I don't know why. But anyway, let's see, what did I do? Well, I know I finished out the box. I got some letters. I believe I did. Oh yeah, the border wasn't started yet. So I came down on the border. So I'm halfway through with that. Those are just repeating elements. This, once it comes down, is just a repeating element of that. So I think what I'm doing is I'm trying to make myself, I'm starting with a repeating element, whatever it is, and then finishing with a letter or two, because the letters are fun and easy and, but the border is also fairly easy, but it's repetitive. So sometimes I like that, sometimes I don't. But I always love the monochromatic nature of it, because then sitting there, listening to the waves, it's almost meditative in the sense between that, the waves, the stitching. Sometimes I'll throw on a podcast or music as well, and just kind of zone out and stitch. So this is 18 count Hush Pink from Dovestitch. So it is a printed fabric. It's not hand dyed. So that's what it looks like. And this will, if I have to travel, for example, or I'm in a car, I find this one easy because again, it's small and it's one color. And so it seems to be my go-to lately if I'm doing that kind of stuff. And, there's always challenges too. So that one definitely keeps coming out and keeps showing back up again, just because it's just easy and portable, which is really nice. All right, so my next one here is Yellow Submarine, and this is Blackbird Designs. And I took inspiration from, I Googled Yellow Submarine, the album covers from the Beatles, and the colors were a bit more vibrant. The background color, I couldn't match the blue to the background color. I know, with all my blue fabrics, you'd think I'd have something. So I kind of, I veered a little bit in the blue, but I kept it with a blue. I've changed some of the colors that didn't show up on the color I chose. I'm going to introduce some purple, because there's prominent purple. One of the kind of caricature pictures of one of the Beatles is wearing like a bright purple jacket. So I want to incorporate that color into it as well. So we've got, let me push that back. I've got a ways to go yet. I have not introduced the purple. This point, actually all I was doing was working on the submarine. And there's more to it than you realize. It's bigger than you think it is. This is 18 count Dive In from Bestitchme. And I am doing a various, what I did was I pulled out some of the variegated floss that I had bought from Dying for Cross Stitch. Who else did I get from? There might be a Roxy Floss Co. in there. I'm not 100% sure. Let me see if I have. Is this? I want to show you my notes for a minute. Hold on a second. These are my keynotes. So yes, it's a disaster. In fact, sometimes I confuse myself, but I see, yes, there is Roxy Floss Co. I'm almost sure there's Dying for Cross Stitch, as well as DMCs. So I'm not even sure about all of my color changes yet. I do want to neaten this up and so that I can have a better idea of what I'm doing, so that I can finish it and not make a complete mess of it. In fact, I had confused myself, and at some point over here on the Submarine, I had more to do. In fact, I have one little set of, I should have just finished that. And I have to make sure that I have the right color, otherwise it'll look really strange. So it's coming along. I want to add a couple purple flowers to some of that, and then I also, on the bottom border, I think one of the colors is going to be that same bright purple, and I might do purple and yellow kind of thing. I don't know yet. There have been some long-term beetle stitch-alongs. One had to do specifically with this series. This is the Magical Mystery Tour series from Blackbird. Sarah, is it Sarah Stitchy Spot? I think it. Yes, I have to sing her husband's song, because you know at the beginning of her videos he sings, and I think it's Sarah Stitchy Spot. Whatever helps the brain work, right? And so she is hosting one, and I want to say it's BBD Magical Mystery Tour Sal, something like that. I'll look it up, and in the description box below I put everything that I talk about with each project, and that's where I'll put the hashtags. And then Cross Stitch to the Globe, Stephanie, I think she's hosting it with, might be Julie and Stitches 16. I'm not 100% sure on that. I am sorry, Julie, if it is you, I apologize. It's Fab4 Fan Sal, I believe. Again, hashtags start to get jumbled in my brain a lot. But anyway, so if I can find those hashtags, and I think I have them written down, I will put them in the description box. This one just gets pulled out whenever I just feel like something whimsical almost, because I feel like I've made it a little bit whimsical. Because, you know, if you go Google the colors that are involved when the Beatles did this one, it's wild, to be honest with you. So I decided I wanted to make it a little wilder too. Why not? All right, so this next piece here, I pulled out from Cross Stitch for the Earth. This is a Stitchrovia, right? Is Emma Congden. I got this book, I think Megan gave this to me a couple years for Christmas, and last year on Earth Day, which I thought was really appropriate, I started a piece from here, and she doesn't have titles, I call it Difference You Make. It says, never underestimate the difference you make. And I didn't put this in my plans, but there's a lot of fun projects in here, so maybe this year on Earth Day, I may start another one. We'll see. If you watch Mandy's Whip Parade, she also is stitching this. And this is mine, though. This is done on 18 count. It's called Fresh Cut, the light version from Dying for Cross Stitch. Dying for Cross Stitch, on a lot of their colors, not all of them, will do like a light, medium, and dark version of the color, which is kind of neat, depending on what you're looking for. I did see, I am a member of Dying for Cross Stitch's Facebook group, and on the first Friday of every month, she releases what her fabric of the month colors are. It's not a club that you buy into. You just look at the colors and decide that month if you want to buy some. And I think they're discounted at that month. And so last night, the night before, she usually shows what's coming. And there's one really, there's just 2 colors of fabric, and I believe there's some floss colors that she's releasing. And one of the colors of fabric caught my eye right away. I think I might have to order it. But this is where I am. I am using all of the called for DMC. I mean, it's Emma Congden. I love how she does color. So I just didn't see wanting to change it at all. The from here up is done, except for in the pattern, there's, you know how a lot of times she'll do like the back stitch to kind of, you know, I don't know if I want to say shadow or what with the words. I have not done that because at the bottom words do not have it. That's the only area where she shadows the words. So I'm going to do everything first and decide if I need that back stitch. I think there might be a couple other spots. I think this bird needs legs, and they both need eyes. Oh, and that needs to be repeated. But for the most part, excuse me, there's a little bits here to do. I may, when I pull out a color that's needed up here, just add. So this bird was a main focus of mine. I got this whole section done, and I started the word difference. There's multiple colors. So what I'm doing is I'm doing the first color, outlining that, and then inside and shadow, she has some other colors. This is a page break in the book, I believe, in the pattern. So it's a little bit challenging. And I thought, well, if I at least do the outline of the letters, the rest of it should go pretty easy. And then this down here will be another page. So that'll be fine. I have no illusions that this will get done by this Earth Day, but I just enjoy stitching on it. It's so fun. You know, you think, oh, I wonder what color, you know, that symbol is. And when you pull it out, it's just this really fun, bright, amazing color. And you're kind of like, wow, she just does things so unexpected, and it's so much fun. So I really like that. But I think I would like to do some more. There's quite a few in that book that I do enjoy. Okay, next. This one, this was the full coverage. I started it this month, and it's getting put away now because I have other full coverages that I want to do. But this was not, you know, this was not in the plan until it was released this year. And it was released, gosh, the end of November, maybe beginning of December. And as soon as I saw it, I just said, oh, I love it. This is Steampunk Fairy. I don't know if there's a number attached to them because there's 3 different steampunk fairies that are charted from this artist. The artist is AdneLStudio. I have no idea if I'm saying that right. If you go down below, I'll have spelled it out. And it is the person who charts it stitches so beautiful. And obviously the red just, it was like, wow, that pops with the gold of the steampunk sort of wings, the gears and the wings. Just a lot of fun. I, of course, am up in the top background. So, you know, not a lot done yet. But I have to say, and I meant to look, I don't know why it's not in my little planner here. Usually when I finish, when I know I'm finishing a rotation of a full coverage, I'll look and see what the numbers are for number of stitches and percentage on Pattern Keeper. And I just forgot on this one. Well, New Year's Eve was the last time I stitched on it. And, you know, that was busy. There was a lot going on New Year's. So this is where I am. You obviously can see I am an in-hand stitcher and it's rolled. This fabric, for some reason, it's not stiff. It's funny though, it doesn't feel, it's Aida, it's 18 count white, but it feels like there's something else in it that is not just cotton. I don't know. But that's where I am. I am not obviously all the way over yet. I probably have about, you know, till about there, because I do try to give 3-inch margins. I think up here it's a little less because I didn't have the full amount to do 3 inches on this piece. This was a piece I had UFO'd, so I kind of ditched a current project I was doing because if I redo it, I would like to do it on a smaller count. because it was just too big. And so this was what was left of the cut, and I really wanted to use this rather than cutting into something else. So I had told you last time that I wanted to come over here, and I did, and I'm so excited. I feel like you can already start to see, you know, this is obviously the window over there. Let me see the picture real quick. There's a house here with the window frame and the different colors of light in the window. And I feel like you can really start to see that. It's really starting to come alive. I think up here might be the start of the wings too. I just haven't gotten to that yet. I probably did some of the gray as well. I think I did. I think I wanted to extend some of it because I did a lot here, but then I also, and I kind of started to fill in here too, which is what maybe got me to where the wings are. There's so many methods of doing full coverage. Mine is officially called organized chaos. I take that stitch what you want when you want to another degree with full coverage, stitch where you want when you want. So I jump literally all over. I will one day be on this side, one day here, and then another say, oh, let's do some in the middle. There is literally no rhyme or reason to how I stitch full coverage. And I'm okay with that. It makes it fun for me because I just go by what do I feel like doing on this piece today. And by doing that, I don't feel like it's a chore. If I don't feel like confetti, then I'm like, let's find a block and let's do the block. If I'm in a good mood for confetti, I say, let's pick a confetti color and let's get some of that done away with. And I just kind of go like that. So I know it may look very disorganized to some of you who are so good. You stitch by pages or diagonals or the rows. I think it's called royal rows. And it's really neat because you see the picture kind of come alive a little bit faster than I do, but I gotta be true to myself. And that's just how it works for me. Okay, this next piece I have not stitched hardly at all, I think. Let me go this way with it. This year, at least not the second half of the year. I'm pretty sure I probably during the winter. So this is the 3 sets. I call this one my winter gnome. WonderStitch UA is where you can find it. And I think I was watching, we have 2 Megans that I gotta make sure I do both. Megan, Georgia Girl Stitching. I was watching her whip parade and Megan has also started this one. And I said, oh, you know what? I should pull mine out. And so that's what I did. So you all are enablers when I have a stitch with you. I say, oh, let me pull that out now. I'm not stitching the background. I replaced it with just a fabric that I thought would highlight it nicely. And anything else I want to say about that? I think that's it. This one, I thought about making it a snow stitch, but there's a lot of counting on this one and a lot of paying attention. I don't have this one in Pattern Keeper. I do it by paper. When I do digitals, I print out a working copy if I'm not putting it in a Pattern Keeper or markup or something. So that's what it looks like. That's where I am. This is, what is this? 18 count Opal Hourglass Nebula, and it's from Fortnight Fabrics. Now, Fortnight is no longer hand dyeing fabrics. You might find them on the secondary market though. So I always do like to still give the names of the companies because sometimes people are selling them. And so this way, it is 18 count. It's very pretty. It's almost a peachy base with just some different variations in it. And it is opal, nice and shiny. So I thought that would be fun for a winter piece. And I think I ended up, this is a page break right here, and I just didn't have it in me. So I kind of worked on rounding out the bottom of the hat here. So anyway, getting back to snow stitch. So my friend Amy, hi Amy from Renewing Stitches. Amy said to me, I'm gonna link Amy. She said, oh, do you have a snow stitch? And I said, no, I didn't think, well, I don't know if I ever answered you, Amy, but no, I didn't have one because the last 2 years I've picked a snow stitch. And so I said, okay, I'm in Southern Delaware. Okay, we don't get a ton of snow, but you know, it's the mid-Atlantic. It's still, you know, the temperatures fairly regulate the same as you start going north. And I had these patterns and we had zero snow, like zero. I think one year I saw a stray flake in the air and I was like, whoop, it snowed, then I'm going to do my snow stitch, because it wasn't getting anything. Now, having said that, I think Sunday night into Monday, we are supposed to get some snow, 3-4 inches. I'm not really sure. Of course, next week is like the most inopportune week to get snow. So of course, that's when it's probably going to snow. But I'm thinking I want to do a snow stitch. And I briefly thought about this one, but there's a lot of counting on this one. And I think I want something that would be just nice and easy to ease into whatever the plans for the day are. Because I'm doing games this month, especially I'm doing Bringo. So obviously we have to choose something with the prompt and so on and so forth. And like I said, I would like to do 25 different things. So I'm touching 25 of my projects. So it's not even like I could make something fit if I made it a snow stitch. So this one is not going to be my snow stitch, but it is winter, so it will come out again. That was the roundabout way to say that. If you're looking for somebody that will talk very concise about their projects, I am not the person. Okay, next. I'm just going to show you this because this shows enough of the pattern rather than me getting out the digital version or the picture, because I have the digital of this. This is Long Dog Samplers, Fish and Chips. And this is part of a 4-piece rotation, soon to be 5-piece rotation that I do. And I have a goal of getting this one finished this year in 2025. I talked about that in the plans video a little bit. And I'm so excited. I have hit the bottom. So here we are. That's where it is. It's actually smaller than I thought, because it never really registered what size it was. And then of course I'm doing it on an 18 count because I see everybody stitching long dogs and they're huge. And I thought, oh boy, this is going to take me forever. But no, if I fold over here, because this is where I concentrated on, I think I did some on the other side too. I rounded the corner. This is the very bottom. And there's another row underneath it, but that is the border. Lots of people are stitching this. Some people are only stitching, do you see that kind of dotted border? The dotted border. I had already started with both borders when I had seen people talking about that. So I might have considered it if I hadn't already started it, but it's fine. It's going in the scrapbook, so I don't necessarily have to worry about if I was to put it in a frame. I'm almost sure it fits. I am 95% sure it fits in the scrapbook in a 12 by 12. So that's where it'll be. I am using DMC Blanc Floche. I'm almost sure it's Blanc. Let me see. Yes. I think there is a B5200 Floche, which I didn't realize at the time. I may or may not have gotten it if I had thought about it and realized it, but I think this white pops enough. This is 18 count. It was part of a blue-green pack from Dying for Cross Stitch back in Black Friday of 2023. So I don't have an official name on it. But as soon as I got it, I said, oh, that's perfect. This was a new year, new start for 2024. So I started it January 1st last year. And I'm hoping for an 18-month, no more than that. But I'm giving myself all of 2025 so that there's no pressure. I'm a big believer in no pressure in my cross stitch. There's enough pressure in the rest of the life. I don't need it in my cross stitch. We just go with the flow. Put some, ouch. I just banged my hand. All right, next. This one, I might even give myself, having just said that about no pressure or deadlines, I think I may give myself a January 2025 finish, quote unquote, deadline on this one. Where is it? I do this every time. This is one that I always have trouble seeing it until I see it. You know what I mean? All right, this is Ireland, and it is from Vlada X Stitch. And I am so close. I am down here. I'm not going to do the words. I am down here. I was able to get this one. I originally started this one first without a working copy. Then I finally realized, okay, working copies work, Laura. And then I was still kind of in the weeds. I tried putting it in Pattern Keeper. It worked. I was like, oh. And now it's gone much faster. So here we are. This is 18 count champagne from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. And with Pattern Keeper, it really is nice because you can just pick because there's multiple color changes here. So I pick a color, you'll see here, see how there's, actually no, that's filled in. So this is the newest area. So I might pick that color and then start taking it where it is. And then there's some cute little pinks down here. So if I feel like doing a different color than the green, I will, but we're close. I think I have, it's either five or 600 stitches, which, okay, that's a decent amount. My big pieces, my rotation of 4, I try to give them 500 in the week that they are seen. In a month, I could put 500 in this though. The Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Acrostic has the letter I. So every time I've had the letter I, I've put in Ireland. So I did put that in for that. And that, for me, I say 200 stitches per letter. And then if I can fit it into Bringo, that's another 100 stitches. So that would be 300 stitches, kind of game stitches wise, would get me so close. I would really like to come back to you next time with it done, but that might be a bit much in a week, depending on how much there is left. So you might see it again really close to a finish, or you might see it finished. We'll see. I don't know on that one. I did change one of the greens. Originally, I was going to change all, which is why it kind of stalled a little bit. I'm sure I originally said I wanted this done by 2024, but it kind of stalled. But then I realized I liked some of the color combinations. It was really only one green I needed to change. And that's the only change I've made. Otherwise, I've used all the called fors. Okay. I have one more before my new starts. I'm so excited about those. And it's a little warm, so I got to pull the sleeves up a little bit. It's freezing outside. It's going to be freezing all week, but it's hot in here. Sometimes I just go outside just to feel the cold. Feels good. Okay, Alice in Wonderland Tree from Tiny Modernist. I have no idea why I pulled this one out, but I did. And there is a stitch along, hashtag Tiny Alice Sal. Allison from Cross Stitch the Globe, and Fanny from, oh, I've just blanked on her Flosstube. I'm going to write myself a note. Oh, and she just did an update too. I'm sorry. I can see the picture of the thumbnail of your video. Literally, I can see what you were, but I can't think of the name. It'll be in the description box. Under Flosstubers mentioned, I'll put it down there. Anyway, so I am plugging along on this. This will take me quite some time. There's just a lot of color changes. I love Tiny Modernist. Tiny Modernist and Stitcherovia have that fun sense of just whimsical color and you know, different things that they do. So you kind of roll with it, right? There's a ton of color changes. And, well, I don't mind some. And this has a reason, because you're doing different pieces. Just random color changes for the sake of it, I'm not a huge fan of. But this, you know, I mean, to get the queen, you need all of those colors. Or to get, you know, the cat, you would need all those colors. So it, you know, it makes sense. This time was a lot of framework, to be honest with you. I did, well, no, yes, I did. I finished up the leaf. I did some of the next part of the frame, so I want to bring that down. I like to do that, then go across. Sometimes I do like to have a reference point with some of this other stuff, which is why I get started, and then fill in and then work my way. This right here was a little bit difficult to see on my working copy, because I like to make the working copies, because there's quite a bit of backstitch around those flowers. And so on the working copy, it got a little messy. So I did have to pull out the original pattern for that. And then over here, I was doing that with this flower too. There's a lot of backstitch on that flower. So a few different places, I was slowed down. I think there's actually one. I'm curious if I'll remember to do it. In this little plant, it's like a rose bush kind of thing. There's one stitch I forgot. And I'm really curious if I'll remember to do it, or if it'll just end up forever being undone. 18 count Opal Blue Ice from To Die For fabric. To Die For is also retired themselves, so they are not hand dyeing anymore. But again, you might find it on the secondary market. I do like the Opal, and I did Wizard of Oz tree on this same exact fabric. So these two will be part of a two-part collection in the scrapbook when this one gets done. I'm thinking maybe 2026, to be honest with you. There's no way this is getting done in 2025. I'd have to just concentrate on this and nothing else, really. All right, so the last two are new starts. They were part of my New Year New Start. I'm going to show you the smaller one first, and then we'll go with the big one, which I am so excited about. I wasn't sure, and I was hemming and hawing on the colors. I think I have the colors right on that. So this one on New Year's Day, I went into it not having a clue what fabric or floss I was going to use. This is the Blessing Sampler 2025 from the Camping Stitcher. So my goal is to get this one done in the month of January, which means you'll see it every week. Hopefully you won't get tired of it. I am not stitching the alphabet at all. And what I did was then because of that, this top border, I'm making it here and here. So the outer border will look the same, but I'll just have taken out those sections. So in my mind, I was originally thinking, what color do I want to stitch it? And of course, blue always comes to mind first. And I was like, no, I've got enough blue. Maybe a green as the floss. But I couldn't find a floss that I really liked. So I had pulled out my variegated flosses because this one's small. So I said, how fun would this be to be in a variegated? It's a very subtle variegation. So you probably won't see much, if any. And I'm okay with that. I'm enjoying it. In person, there is a little bit that you can see, but it's very mild. And then I picked my floss, and then I started to do fabric, pulled out the fabrics, and I went with this one. Completely, in my mind, a little unconventional. So the floss choice, and I'm going to hold this up. It's a mess. I haven't done anything with it. This is Eggplant. And so that is Eggplant from Stitchy Stuff Co. I saw this, and then, okay, now it's time to do some fabric tosses. What I did, though, because I wasn't really sure which direction, I love this. I use this all the time in card making. I don't know if this is an EK Success one, I think. Yeah, it is. I don't know if they make them anymore. I had temporarily lost this, and I bought another color wheel, and it's much flimsier. It's very thin. It's just not, I love this thing. It's compact, it's thick cardstock, and I just love it. So I was so happy when I found this. Basically what you do is if you have, there's multiple ways you can do color, right? You can do complementary, you can do the opposite, you can do side by side. There's like the 3 color combinations, the 4 color combinations. So for example, here, if that purple is a 4, there's 2 different variations of 4 color combinations. So you have it there, and then if you follow the purple boxes, it will show you 4 other colors. So my fabric choice is slightly over here probably, or even it's close to the colors in this direction, because I went and I did all of my things and I couldn't decide, but I kept coming back to kind of this shade. And so this is 18 count Orange Pico from Under the Sea Fabrics. It was a fabric of the month this year, and I really, really hope she keeps it for her regular line. It's kind of an in-between between orange and pink, but I think, if you wanted to add some color, but you were a little afraid of really out there colors, I think it's a great color choice. Now, this is 18 count. I don't know what it looks like in other counts. To kind of bridge that, I'd like to go maybe away from a little bit of the beige, but I don't want to go like way out there in color. I think a lot of colors would look nice on this, and I'm really pleased with it. So that's where I got. So you can see here, even with taking the words out, I can still do the border exactly as it is, how she's got it designed. It'll be fine. I don't have to finagle anything. And I made sure, I was really worried I didn't count right, even though I triple checked. So I did do the top section all the way across, and it works out perfectly. So that little design will go all the way across all the borders. And then I decided, let's do the house, or get a chunk of the house, because the house, especially the roof, is the biggest part to this, besides just the border. Otherwise, you know, you've got words and you've got the date and just some small elements. Those will go pretty quick. I am doing this, I bought it as a digital, but I'm just doing it as paper, so I have no idea how many total stitches it is. I do count my stitches even with paper patterns, but I don't know the total, so I don't know how much. If I did, I would at least know how many a week I would need in order to get it finished, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. Once I get that house done and I figured out the how the border goes, I think I'll be fine. All right. So that was the first start on New Year's Day. And then the second one was my big New Year's new start. This is the third year that I have gone big. 2 years ago, I started Owl Forest Embroidery's Black Vintage Sampler. 2024 was Fish and Chips by Long Dog. And I went back to Owl Forest. I hadn't planned this, but when they released it like a month ago or something, I said, oh boy, I need to do this. And what better day to start than New Year's? So this is Black Roses, which is kind of ironic when you see what I'm doing with it. And it is Owl Forest Embroidery. And I was able to get most of it in Pattern Keeper. Mary from Mary's Stitching Corner is stitching this, as well as Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe. And then, oh gosh, there is another, Mary had posted it on Instagram. There's another stitching friend that she also is, I can't remember their Instagram now. I'm sorry. But they are also stitching it. So I know of some, and then on my Facebook page, there are some people stitching it and they're changing the colors different than what I'm doing. And it is awesome. So cool. So if you are doing this and you are changing the colors, if you're on my Facebook page, please post your pictures. I would love to see it. Your stitched pictures are always welcome. You know that. But if you're on Instagram, or even if you're not on anything, if you want to just send me a picture to your Gmail, to my Gmail, that would work too. But I am loving how people are interpreting this. It's so cool. I see Maleficent when I see this, but several people have said they see the witch from Snow White. And so they're kind of going in that direction, which is very cool. And I can see it. Now that you've said it, I can see it. I've already started this way and I like it. So I'm okay with what I'm doing, but I can see why you made your choice like that. And it's so cool. All right. You ready? Here we go. That's where I am. Not too bad. I did that. This was New Year's Day as well as another yesterday, and I'll talk about that in a second why. This is 18 count Pomona from Under the Sea Fabrics. This was another fabric of the month. So usually what Leslie does for Under the Sea Fabrics is maybe two of her line from the previous years makes it into her current selection. I also like her blue. I don't know what's making it. I really liked a lot of her choices this year. I have seen, so what she does on the Facebook page is she shows you what the color is going to look like for the month, which I'm fine with. I don't care about being surprised necessarily, because it's still going to be a surprise what it looks like in person, not on the screen. And the January one's really cool. I'm excited about that one when she sends it out. But yeah, so Pomona, I'm using Anchor Black. I have enough because, you know, now that Anchor has been bought out by DMC and you can't get it anymore, I'm really worried that I won't have that nice kind of full black. I might try Black Floche actually from DMC. We'll see. And then I hemmed in the hod on which of the flosses I wanted to do that's variegated floss for the roses. Hence why it's ironic. It's called Black Roses, but my roses won't be black. And I ended up with Pomegranate from Stitchy Stuff Co. And there, I don't know if you can tell on the screen, but there is variegation. This is probably one of the more variegated hand-dyed flosses I use. I like very subtle variegation when I use it. And I don't want to have to, I just want to stitch. I don't want to have to plan where each and every stitch is. That to me, I don't enjoy. I know some people really love it. I don't. I don't want to fussy cut the color. I just want to stitch. And so there is variegation, but I think it'll be okay. Because it's like small little bits, right? You do a flower, then you go and move on. So all of the roses I'm hoping to do with this pomegranate, and then everything else will be the black. Now, I stitched on this New Year's Day. No, yeah, New Year's Day, January 1st. And then, so yesterday was the start. Whip Warriors, you'll hear me talk about this during the course of the year, is a Facebook challenge group. It opens for new members in November and then closes at the end of December. So it is closed now. It'll open again in November. It is a challenge group that requires participation. It requires pictures. If some of that is not your thing, then you wouldn't want to do it. Although you could certainly just play along on your own to some of these challenges without ever joining the group, right? Because enough of us talk about it. And in fact, Lisa, Shady Trees Stitchers, Lisa is one of the admins. I'm going to put down Lisa's Facebook page. And she, who's currently on a cruise to somewhere beautiful, I think. So Lisa's not going to see this, but have fun. Every month at the beginning of the month, she goes through a bunch of challenges. She does mention my I Spy, which is very nice of her, Lisa. Very nice of you. She talks about Whip Warriors first, because that's the group. She's an admin. I think there's a group called Down Under Divas, and then there might be something else. So they go through, she and a friend usually, Jenny a lot of times, but not 100% always Jenny, will go through and pick projects for the prompts. And so she talks about the Whip Warrior different events. So some of them you can hear about what they're doing. So you can try them, see if it works for you before you try joining the group next year. And if you love it, then it might be something you'd want to join. So anyway, every month they have a focus challenge. So for 4 days, this month it's January 2nd through 6th. You pick a piece and you put in stitches on it through those 4 days. And then you post a start and you post a finish kind of thing. And you can see how much you get done. I obviously am not a monogamous stitcher. So for 4 days, I'm not going to stitch just on this. But I stitched probably about 150 stitches on it yesterday for the challenge. And you basically accumulate. You don't take pictures each day, just a beginning and an end. But I think if I can do like 150 each day, that's 4 days, I can get 600 stitches in. I think that would be at least a nice, where the original picture was something like this. Last night I put in this flower, finished that flower, came all the way down here. So I think I could get some nice progress on it over the next 3 days. So you will see this one as well next week. I think in my 4-piece rotation, Summer Quaker is next up. So that's also one that will get some work next week. Hopefully I can fit that into one of the Bringo prompts. Black Roses was the very first Bringo prompt. It was something that would remind you of a family picnic. And on Father's Day, every year when the kids were smaller, we would go on a picnic for Father's Day with Mo. And if you are in the Connecticut area, especially central Connecticut, in the Hartford area, there's a beautiful park, especially in June, called Elizabeth Park. And usually Father's Day weekend is the Roses weekend. So they have a huge number of volunteers that tend these beautiful gardens. And there's other plants and stuff that will bloom at different times of year as well. And people we would walk around the area and stuff. But there's a beautiful area in the center that is like their rose garden. And it culminates just around Father's Day weekend. And a lot of times they'll have big events then. And it's just beautiful. There's arches, there's a gazebo. A lot of people do wedding pictures there, prom pictures, things like that, because it's just gorgeous. So if you were ever in the Hartford area, Hartford, Connecticut area, especially, it's obviously this time of year, it would be a little bit barren, but there's some really interesting different things to read about. There's one area to read about one of the women involved with Elizabeth Park, and it's very cool. But if you're there in the summer, I would recommend. It's beautiful, really a lovely little walk. And there's grass areas that people will bring food and just picnic at. I want to say in the summer, they have weekly musical people come in on, say, like a Wednesday night, and you can do a picnic and stuff. So a place that I wish there was somewhere down here where we live right now that was similar to that, because I do miss that. That is just beautiful. And I can't recommend it enough on a really nice day. Okay, so that's the stitches I did. Yay! Plans. On January 6th is Allison from Cross Stitch the Globe's birthday. Happy birthday early, Allison. And she is starting her Princess Sal. And do I remember the hashtag? No, I do not. That's the next week's problem. It's a future Laura problem. So on Monday, I will start I think it's Cinderella from Lena Ova. Do I know the fabric and floss yet? Nope. Just like the Blessing Sampler, it's going to be a day of decision, I think. Maybe this weekend I'll start pulling some stuff out. I think I'm going to use DMC for the floss because it's a big piece. So I'm going to pull out, I don't know what color scheme I want yet, but when I don't know flosses, I will pull out my DMC card book, and I love this thing. And then I start pulling out, because they look sometimes a little different here than they do in person, right? But that just gives me a really good starting point. So there's that. And then I want to do a whip parade. So I'm of two minds. And, you know, I'd be curious, because I know you have so much to watch now. Part of me would like to do my whip parade. Well, I'm going to caveat all of this with next week, I may have to do an unscheduled driving trip for a couple days. If that's the case, I have no idea what days I'm going and coming back. It's really up in the air, and it's all weather related. So, you know, we know how that goes, right? There is an off chance that I might not be around Friday next week. Part of me might, if I know ahead of time I'm leaving, say on Friday, I might film on Thursday, upload it on Friday. If I know I'm coming back on Friday, I might just film on Saturday and upload. So that's the first thing. Second, I thought about on Friday, just instead of doing a regular video, doing my whip parade. The only thing that has a little pause with that, because I don't want to do too many extra videos for you. I know you're busy and I know you have a lot to watch. I am doing Bringo. So part of me is a little worried if I'm doing a different piece every single day at Bringo. The Friday after that, we'll probably have like 20 pieces. I don't know. Or I do a whip parade, and on the pieces that I worked on that week, just say something if I can remember and just start from there. I don't know. So are you completely swamped? Would 2 videos for me just put you over the edge, basically? Would you just prefer, like, would you prefer Flosstubers, for example, to do their whip parades on their regular scheduled day versus adding extras? What do you like to do? I've just kind of gone along doing whatever the last few years, but I would like to know what makes your life the easiest. Now, obviously, people will have different opinions. So if I do something different than what you put, that's just the way it is, right? Because ask 10 people a question and you'll probably get 10 answers, right? So, but I do want to try to figure out what's best. If I do not have to do any driving and it's not great weather, I'm not going anywhere. So I will have time. It's not like I don't, but at the same time, I kind of want to figure out how to do this. So any input from you, and I will, take in any input I get and then try to figure things out. That's it really for plans. I think the next stitch along start is after Allison's, which is the 6th. I think the next one is the 10th, and I don't know what day of the week that is. Hold on. That's next Friday. I should have looked. I have the date right on my notes. It says the 3rd, which means the 10th is next Friday. So that stitch along, which is from across the pond, you won't see until 2 weeks from now anyway, because I won't start that until after I film whatever I film, if I'm even around. So I don't have to worry about that one. I only have one new start coming then this week, as far as I know. Who knows? So then that's it for stitching. Shopping, I couldn't find any. Usually when I buy something and it comes in, I put it over here where I'm filming. There's nothing. So if I bought something digital, nothing jumps in my head. I don't think so. So there's no shopping to show you. So we're just skipping right to life, which means if that's all you care about is seeing the stitching, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me and see my stitching, and I will see you next time. All right, so life, we had New Year's, right? We had Megan and Liz down over the weekend. So between Christmas and New Year's, they came down for a couple days. So that was fun. We kind of did like a Christmas dinner sort of thing. The first night they got here, we sent the kids all out to Megan, Liz, and Con. They went out for, we said, go out to dinner and just you three kind of catch up, do whatever without the parents kind of thing, and so I think they enjoyed that. And then we did a family dinner the next day. I think the kids did some shopping and so on and so forth. And then the next day they went back after they were able to work virtually, and then they went back to Pennsylvania with Con here still this one more week here. New Year's Eve, we did a very, very early dinner. I think we were at the restaurant at 4:45. We put the early birds. It was great. I mean, we didn't make reservations. You didn't have to. By the time we left, there was a couple people there, but it was still quiet. So it was great. Got our meal in, brought home our leftovers, because there's always leftovers, right? And which is the best part. I love leftovers. And then that night jumped on. So Sandy from Stitching with Sandy, I'm going to write down Sandy's name. Sandy does twice a month Zooms. And then on New Year's Eve, she does a 12 by 12 Zoom. And she's in California. So she starts at 9 a.m. for all of us East Coast people who start at noon. And she'll go all the way to midnight her time. So she's 15 hours hosting this Zoom. And she changes projects every hour kind of thing. I was not on. Sandy, did you do 15 or did you spread it so you only did 12 because you were on for longer than 12 hours? I was not able to go on. So it would have started, the Zoom started 12 o'clock my time. I did have physical therapy early afternoon. So I wasn't stitching. I did go to physical therapy. It was good. He said, I've got some increased range of motion, although still some pain, but he said, we're taking baby steps, like really, really baby steps. Was able to add some new different things to my routine. So, I do my exercises at home every day, but oof, some days are harder than others. Today is a hard day. Like, of course, the hard day had to come on a filming day. So, I did physical therapy. We went out to dinner, and then I jumped on for a couple hours on Sandy's Zoom. So it was very nice to see everybody. And then I was in bed before midnight. I don't stay up to midnight. I haven't for years. We actually did get a text from Megan, I think at 1:30 in the morning. I didn't hear it. I was out. I think Mo heard it. So Mo knew. Clearly Megan didn't pay attention to the time. And, she didn't read the room. Her parents are not up at 1:30 on any night, even if it's New Year's. It was a nice, quiet holiday, which is the way I like it. I like to go out early for New Year's Eve, and then I'd like to be home. So that's what we did. Okay, so TV. What have I been watching? I did not realize I saw that Vera, I think I get it on BritBox, is filming their very last season. And I went back and I realized I had not caught up. I was a season and a half that I hadn't watched for some reason. It's like you start watching something else and you kind of forget. So I went back and I watched the second to last season, what I hadn't, and then the last season, which was kind of cool because a character came back that hadn't been on for several seasons. So I don't know if that character's going into this last season as well. I think the very first episode of the last season has been released on BritBox, so I wanted to catch up, so now I can watch it. Normally it's a 4-episode season because they do like hour-and-a-half episodes. I don't know if that's the case for this last season or how they're doing it, but I guess it's based off of a book. I don't remember the author's name now. I did not read the books. And, it's very kind of British police shows I find are fairly quite different than US shows, and I like both for various reasons. But Vera she's a fun character, and you know, a little hard, a little hard on the people around her, but you know, she gets the job done. And if you're just looking for kind of something that's, it's, you know, it's kind of, it's a little slower paced, and I like that, as well as all the other kind of different variations of shows there are. And you know, basically there's a murder to solve every week kind of thing. And but the characters, you kind of, some of them stay on. I think there's one, I don't know if there's only one that's been on the entire season with Vera. You know, all the other different people come and go for various reasons, and you know, some life stuff thrown in here and there. But I enjoy it, and it's one that I like to stitch too. I stitch, I look up, I listen. I don't necessarily need to see every little thing, especially if I'm just listening to it as well. So if you like that kind of thing, I think you would like it. And then what did I read? So yes, next Tuesday is our book club for our our neighborhood. There's a couple book clubs. Some of them are secret. I don't know about them. But there is a mystery book club that's open to everybody. And I do belong to that one. And so I read the book, and I just took a picture because I had gotten the book from the library and then I forgot to bring it up. It is called How to Solve Your Own Murder from Kristen Perrin. So I actually read it faster than I thought I would. Sometimes I'm a little bit slower with some of the mystery book reads, but it went by pretty quickly. I would say that I know somebody in the comments last week said they listened to it, and there's a lovely narrator. I would have been really confused listening to it. I do want to listen to it now that I've read the book. Like, I don't care that I know the ending. I don't mind that, because sometimes then you pick up things that you didn't pick up in the first read anyway. But there's a lot of characters, and it changes from 1966 to current time. And it goes back and forth because you're kind of reading somebody's journal and finding out what happened back then, and then current day, what's happening right now. And there's a decent number of characters. Even reading it, I kind of had to set myself and say, okay, who is this a few times? So for me, just listening to it, I would have been completely lost. If you can get over if it doesn't bother you to have the two different time frames, and they do, the stuff that's back in 1966 is in like italics, so you'll know when you're going back and forth. And if having a lot of characters, and some of them are carryovers from back then to now, if that doesn't bother you and you're okay with that, then I would say it's a cute little read. Would it be the best mystery I've ever read? No. I think just because there was so many characters. But the main character, she was likable. Sometimes, you know how when you do these mysteries, I guess you'd kind of call it a cozy. Sometimes, you know how somebody who's trying to solve this murder, then the police get all kind of mean, and, you know, they're kind of nitpicking at each other. In this case, the police officer was not, and there was a specific reason why she was trying to solve the crime. So that worked well. I don't like it when, you know, it's like stick your nose out of it, blah, 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 all that stuff that they do. And they just, you know, they're not pleasant to each other, which is probably what real life would be, but this is a book, right? So, so I liked that interaction in that sense. And did I know where it was going to end up? No, I didn't actually. I didn't necessarily know. I didn't guess anything. I was surprised at the end. So for the most part, I found it a pleasant read that I got, that I read pretty quickly because I wanted to know. I was invested in the story enough that it wasn't something that, oh, I'll just read tomorrow or whatever, because I know I have to have it done by. I never have my books done this early, and now I did get it earlier, but once I started and got into the story, I found it a very quick read. So I would say if you want a little cozy mystery, it could be something to give it a try. I did get it from the library. I had to put it on hold. It wasn't my library, but there was plenty available for interlibrary loan, so I got it pretty quickly. So I imagine other library systems would also have it. There is a new one coming out, I think this spring, same author, same main character. I can't remember what it's called. Obviously, it might be a little harder to get from the library when it's brand new. I don't think it's actually come out yet. I looked on Amazon to get that picture for you, so I'm not 100% sure. I didn't do a quick look. But I enjoyed it, I have to say. And I am invested in getting the second book in the series at the library just to see what happens next. Excuse me. So that's my book, my reading and my TV this week, as well as just lots and lots and lots of Flosstubes, plans videos, whip parades, regular videos, wrap-ups, blah, you know, you name it, everything. And so there was a steady stream of Flosstube on in the background too. And I still have a long line, and I'm not commenting quite as much as I normally do. So I'm sorry if you don't get a comment, because I'm just going from video to video. I figure a lot of you are probably in the same boat and may or may not be commenting on my videos. So I get it. But I am doing my best to kind of catch up and watch as much as I can. So that's about it. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. There's a lot of stuff floating around. I've heard of different people saying, you know, they're sick or their family's sick or this and that. So please, please take care of yourself when it comes to that. We don't want anybody sick this winter. And then remember that you matter. You are important. So, you know, take that time to kind of feed your soul and what is good for you, because you are important. And I know a lot of us will put ourselves on the back burner for everybody else and kind of neglect ourselves sometimes. So I know it took me a long time to learn not to do that. And I hope you will do that for yourself, please. For me, remember, you matter, so it's important. Okay, so until next time, and that may be a regular, a whip parade, something in between. I have no idea. But until next time, happy stitching.